Good evening, everyone. I'm Margaret Podesta, principal of Putnam Valley Elementary School, and I'm so happy to be here tonight to talk about our elementary building. I'd like to introduce for the first time speaking at a board meeting, Ms. Jen Pico, my assistant principal, and we've been getting along fabulously and doing lots of great work at the elementary school since she joined us in late October. So very happy to have her here with me. We're here to talk about the elementary school and its budget as we look into the next year, 2022-2023. And as the quote says, this is where it all begins. We try very hard each and every day to provide a strong and dynamic foundation for our young learners in Putnam Valley. And we're proud of the work we do and extremely proud of the staff at the elementary school. Our current goals for this year and moving forward, celebrating our academic successes and always looking to continue to grow and improve. You will see from our slides that we've had tremendous success with our academic progress, the programs we've been able to offer our elementary school students, and the results of those programs. Strong and dynamic teacher teams who are working collaboratively each and every day, supporting each other as professionals, as friends, and growing in the curriculum work that they're doing. Always maintaining a safe and engaging learning environment with a strong sense of community. We're very excited that the world is becoming a healthier place. Parents will be able to come into our building much more often. And just the fact that we were able to teach through the pandemic with our doors open to our learners throughout really the majority of the time after spring of 2020. And we're proud of our district and the support that we've had through that entire experience. Always appropriate support and enrichment for all students according to specific learning needs. And this means academic support, academic growth in the classroom and even beyond the classroom. Continued support of our growing ENL program, and you will hear that our program is remaining steady and always growing. Culturally responsive classrooms, which we take very seriously. A brand new special this year, Innovation Lab. We replaced our technology special, and this is showing great success for all students. A beautiful new science lab where our classes visit the science lab and work on their hands-on experiments and learning with the TA in the science room, but with the teacher as well. Digging into our ELA program, always looking to make it more rich, make it more effective, and to grow our young readers and writers. And a very large focus always, each and every day, from morning announcements throughout, on character education, kindness, and respect. Jen?
I'm so proud to present tonight about the Innovation Lab. The Innovation Lab at Putnam Valley was really something that I could have only dreamed about before coming to this school. This space is the perfect place for all children to thrive. It's led by Jen Bruno, and she has made this space into something magical. She leads all of the students in our building through project-based learning, hands-on learning. This place just organically gives an enriching experience to every student. She has taken this from ground zero to the most beautiful place you could absolutely imagine. Every student that walks in those doors is excited to be in there for every moment of the day.
As we look at our enrollment overview, you can see through the years from 1920 up to where we are and where we are going. And you can see that some of our classes, even this year, 2021, 2022, you can see that they vary widely in size. Our current third grade is our smallest group with 79 students. The largest group is now our current second grade with 126. And all of the others are at or about that 100 mark, with first grade growing. And I think we're always welcoming new students. We've been welcoming new students all year. So at this point, we have 531 total students. But if you look through the years, we have steadily grown. We have, I think Dr. Luft has said, or he'll tell you that, we've received more students than students who have moved away. And so right now, we have begun our kindergarten registration process, and we at this point on March 3rd are already up to 85 registrants, which is a nice, healthy number for March.
Speaking of kindergarten registration, last Thursday over the break, we opened the doors at PVES to some of our first families registering their students for kindergarten. As you can imagine, registering your child for kindergarten comes with a lot of emotion. If it's your first child, it comes with a whole slew of emotions and a lot of questions. If it's your last child, it comes with a whole slew of different emotions. Some are happy, goodbye, and some are, feeling the mixed emotion of their last child starting their school experience. I really have to give it up to our office staff and our nurse for how they have simplified this process for the parents. They have answers, as we try to also, for every question that any parent could possibly have about registering their child. It was great. We got to see a few of the faces, and Liz in the front office said, "I just don't understand how the kids at Putnam Valley keep getting cuter." And they do every year. So I'm excited to meet more families. And if there's anybody out there listening that has not registered yet, please call the elementary school and we can start the process for you.
So the kindergarten registration process has become more and more efficient, and as Jen just said, last week we had a good number of families register. This is not when the children have to come in. This is when the parents come in with the official paperwork, to be followed by screening in May, and of course the famous bus orientation at the end of the summer. This picture was taken yesterday, so you don't see lots of masks in that classroom right there, but you do see some smiles, and they're showing me how important it is to be a kindergartner. They're showing me what a great job they're doing. Okay, our current classes now, speaking of our budget and looking at where we are, our kindergarten classes all have about 19 to 21, 5 sections. We have 5 sections of first grade, but take a look at those numbers. They are kind of steadily growing. This is where we are right now, 22, 22, 24, 22 and 24. And so we're talking about young children whose year was a little bit interrupted last year. Some of these children were remote. They're in first grade now, becoming young readers and mathematicians. And so those classes are a nice, healthy size. Healthy or even getting a little bigger. Grade 2 has really grown this year. Grade 2, we have 24 in each of the 5 sections, with another second grader coming in a week. So these classes we're taking a very close look at, the size of those classes. Grade 3 stays small. I don't know what it is, but this is our little class, our third graders, and 21, 18, 19, and 19. And then our fourth grade classes, this isn't right. There's one extra class put in there. Sorry about that. We have 4 sections of fourth grade. So there are 27, 25, 23, and 23, I believe. So we'll have to take that extra 23 out. Okay, we have 2 self-contained classes, 6 students in the K-3 class and 7 in the 2 through 4 class. And then we do have a full day Achieve with 4 students, where some of our students in 1-2 actually push into that classroom for ELA and math. Okay, so now this projection slide looks at next year. This is one possibility, and I know we'll look at this with the board. Kindergarten, we're anticipating that we will have 5 sections of about 20 students. That's a little hard to predict at this point, but that's what we're anticipating. Grade 1, 5 sections of the 20 students who are currently in kindergarten. But if we look at grade 2, it is possible that if we could have 6 sections instead of 5, take that large first grade class, bring them to grade 2, and add a section with federal stimulus money to give an extra group, they would still all have about 19 students in those second grade classes. Grade 3, we know we're going to at least 5 sections because we have 5 second grade classes, but those second grade classes right now have 24 in each. If we went to 6 sections with a stimulus money position added, we would have 6 sections of third grade with about 20 students, which is quite different from the third grade this year, which is so small. They would go to 4 sections of fourth grade, and like I said, we currently do have 4 sections of fourth grade, but this class would be smaller at 19 students each. So this is something that we can continue to examine, and let us know what you're thinking with this, but 2 of these positions would be funded with federal stimulus funds. Looking back at staffing, and I won't read through all of this because really we haven't had many changes. If you look at our total in 1920, we had 99 total staff and faculty plus 2 administrators and a safety patrol officer. If you look at the next year, 2020-21, we're at 97 total. And so once in a while, a bigger class gets that extra section, a smaller class gets 1 less section. Every grade level has a collaborative class where a general ed teacher and a special ed teacher teach in the same classroom. So that's at 97, then you go to the next year and again, 97. So our staff numbers, even though sometimes our numbers change in a grade level a little bit, our staff has not really significantly or at all grown in general. So the numbers basically stay the same year to year to year. Anticipated staffing for next year would look very similar. So we have our administration, we have our office staff. Grade K, if we look at this plan, we'd have 5 general ed and a special ed teacher. Grade 1, 5 and 1. Grade 2, looking at 6 and 1. Grade 3, 6 sections with a special ed teacher in 1. And then grade 4, again, 4 general ed teachers with 1 with a special ed teacher in the classroom. We have 1 math AIS teacher currently. We have 2 reading AIS teachers. We have 1 ENL teacher in the building, although there are other faculty who do have the ENL certification. One of our first grade teachers does, and so does one of our third grade teachers does. We have 2 psychologists. We have 1 counselor. Currently, we have 2.4 speech teachers. We do have 1 nurse. He's our new nurse, Mr. Murphy, and we have our floating nurse, Mrs. Hill, who we know so much, but she's the floating nurse throughout the district at this point, and 6 specialists, 2 phys ed, art, music, innovation lab, and band teacher. As far as upcoming staff changes, we're looking at possibly 3 additional general ed teachers, as we've said, 2 through federal stimulus funds. We're watching, as always, that we do at this point in the year, the incoming kindergarten enrollment, and always making sure that the professional support staff numbers are in line with student needs, but that's not necessarily a change. We just make sure that it's lined up and student needs are met. And Jen's going to talk a little bit about our ENL program.
Speaking of student needs, we have a population of students that are in our ENL program. That population is holding steady and growing. We do have the amazing Mr. Hogan in our building, and in one of my past lives, we'll say, I was an ENL teacher, and Mr. Hogan takes the cake. He is absolutely amazing. He is everywhere all the time. You can find him in the hallway with students, in classrooms with students, at recess with students, walking from place to place, constantly instructing, constantly enriching their experience at school. He is also key to communicating with many of our families. He has his phone on him at all times. He's always happy to help, to translate, to communicate, whatever it is that we need, and he's a huge advocate for the students. But that really is just the way that the program is built at Putnam Valley. Mr. Hogan is special and he is amazing in what he does, but that's the culture of the building, to meet the needs of the students. And I see the same level of dedication and advocacy, not only from him, but also from the teachers that Dr. Podesta mentioned that are certified ENL teachers, and all of the staff that collaborate to meet the needs of these students.
We are happy to say that the musical concerts are back. Our 4th graders were able to borrow the stage over here in the high school and perform for their parents. That was a wonderful evening because we were welcoming our elementary parents back into school activities. We are looking forward to a 4th grade spring concert, a 3rd grade recorder concert, and also other just little celebrations with parents in classrooms and in our auditorium as the spring moves forward. Something to celebrate and not to ever overlook is the hard work that our staff has really been doing over the past few years, aligning our curriculum very, very closely and meeting the needs of our students. So as some of you may have read, with US and News and World Report, Putnam Valley was ranked 103 out of 2,831 elementary schools in the state. This is academic performance and achievement. We were actually rated as an elementary school with our 3rd and 4th grade state exams in the 96th percentile of all elementary schools in the state. This is something to be proud of because you can only do this with effective teachers, a caring staff. You can only do it with a Board of Education and Administration that really provides for you what our students need, including professional development for our teachers. And it's also the hard work of teachers who have been digging into curriculum and really looking at how we can best meet our needs for students who have disabilities, students with ENL, students with special reading and math needs. And so this was something to celebrate. And really, it's hard for the teachers to sit back and celebrate because we're busy working, but I really wanted them and our administration helped them take a moment to say, you know, this was not where we were, it's where we are now, and we're just going to keep working. This was from the 2019 spring data. In math, we were rated number 89 in the state. So, you know, good for Putnam Valley and good for everyone who took part in just getting us to where we are. Test scores are not everything, but they are a reflection of the work being done and the curriculum being met. Both grades 3 and 4 in the recent assessments ranked number 1 in the entire Putnam, Northern Westchester, BOCES region. That's Putnam and Northern Westchester ranking number 1 in grade 3 and 4 in math scores. And you know, that again, it's our Eureka math program, it's our teachers, it's our understanding of how to best meet the needs of students, and it's the support staff as well. That brings us to some work we're really excited about right now. We're really digging into our ELA study, taking a very close look at the work that we do, how we teach reading and writing. There's never the set answer like, okay, we are here, we have it all figured out. That's just not how it works in education. So along with Jackie Levine's support, Dr. Luff, Dr. Doherty, we are looking very closely at many parts of ELA, English Language Arts. We're looking at DRA scoring, our reading level assessments with consistency. We're looking at teaching our foundations K through 3 with fidelity, making sure that we are all in line with what our students are getting as far as education and what they're getting from grade level to grade level. We have this wonderful initiative called the Writing Revolution, where we're incorporating writing techniques right into all parts of the content areas so that students get a much stronger understanding of the basics of writing and the basics of the sentence. And as a pilot, we have teachers who've requested to really dive into what programs are even out there right now, because we think of the old-fashioned programs, and I'm even going back to just the early 2000s, but it's, you know, there's a lot out there for parents, for teachers, and for us to take a look at and see, is there something out there that could even work for our students here even more effectively and with more consistency. So I give so much credit to the teachers who've said, hey, do you want to take a study and take a look and maybe pilot something even in 1 grade or 2? So this is great work, and it gets us very excited because we're instructors. Speaking of reading, here we go.
So if you're a basketball fan, March Madness might mean something to you, but at Putnam Valley Elementary, we have the March Madness Reading Academy happening right now. Day 2 happened today. And once again, this is a program started with the support of Dr. Levine, Dr. Luft, supported by federal funds. And this is a program for students after school twice a week in the month of March to just give them that boost. You know, when you give a student a boost in reading, just a little bit goes a long way. So we had our first and second grade teachers carefully look at their students. We looked at data with them and we said, what students would benefit from just a little bit more? If we give them just a little bit more after school, how far will that go? And the answer is very far. So we have about 27 students, I believe, that are in our program this month in our academy, along with 4 teachers who could probably teach reading all day long if we let them, right? Super passionate about this, what they love to do all day long, and have the skills and expertise to give these students just a little bit more to go a long way.
We also have the Mandarin program, which is being taught in kindergarten, first and second grade this year, looking to bring it up to third grade next year because our current second graders have had it every year since they started at Putnam Valley. This is a group celebrating the Chinese New Year here, wearing their red. And our TA, who comes with the agreement through BOCES, comes in every day of the week. Each class meets with the Mandarin teacher for 30 minutes once a week, and they speak Mandarin. They are learning colors and numbers and holidays and family members, and it's a very exciting part of language enrichment. We all know that the best time to learn language is very young, and so they're learning it faster than I am, I can tell you that. But I've also been asked to just share with colleagues around the region on how it's going, and maybe we can have some visitors into our elementary school from other schools who are very interested in this initiative. So again, we have had this funded in different ways. We appreciate the support. Last year, the Putnam Valley Education Foundation helped us with this, and this is making quite a difference in our school. And the teacher stays in the room, so the teachers are learning the Mandarin language as well. And it's just a wonderful language-rich experience. Our Eureka Math continues to be a program that drives our math curriculum. We do use extra supports as well, but as you know, this is a program, or as you may have heard, that really teaches the understanding of number sense, several different strategies, how to solve a problem. Some look familiar to us, some are brand new. Children learn number bonds and base 10 frames, and they are solving word problems through our 6-step framework. And the children's math success is apparent because I just shared the data with you, but also when they are speaking out loud and telling you how they're solving their problems, you can see how they're decomposing numbers and adding numbers that work together and breaking down word problems, which is a very challenging skill. And this happens to be Mr. Wish's room, who is our math AIS teacher this year, and you know, they're always busy, hands-on. They've got their smart board, their manipulatives, their dry erase board, and it all supports our Eureka math curriculum, which is completely aligned to the Engaged New York State learning standards. Oh, that's me, okay. This is our gorgeous new science lab, and we're very, very fortunate to have this beautiful room. Every grade level uses this science lab with our TA in the room, Mrs. Liz Bross. She has been trained in Science 21 to teach with the classroom teacher, and I was actually in this room today. Students were learning about different sources of energy and why some are better than others. But sometimes you'll walk into this room and there are strings going from one side to the other because they're studying energy and motion. This is just an amazing place of learning where science comes alive. The teacher isn't setting up science experiments in her own classroom where she's teaching ELA and social studies, but the teacher is bringing the class into this room where the hands-on learning and the experiments take place. So this is a place to visit if you're in the building. Okay.
Social emotional learning is something that's very close to my heart, and I value the importance of this aspect of curriculum in an elementary school tremendously. And coming to Putnam Valley Elementary, I was really thrilled to see how this is a priority in the building. We have Laura Kilduff is our social worker in the building and our counselor, and she works very closely with the psychologist, but not only that team, also with the classroom teachers, with the administrative team, and with the students in pushing into classrooms and really addressing the needs of social emotional learning. She uses a lot of the materials from the Second Step program. She addresses things such as bullying, feelings. She talks about different dynamics, different social issues that might happen, problem solving. She really hits it all. She's a great resource for all of us, and the program has been very successful. We've tried to integrate her language and the ideas and the lessons that she's doing, pushing into classrooms, taking it outside to recess, taking it to issues that might happen on the bus. And it really gives us a platform and something that we can leverage other lessons off of.
School safety has been a top priority always, and especially over these years with the pandemic. You can see that our auditorium on the right was actually set up and is still set up as an extra lunchroom in our building for social distancing. Children, seating with the pandemic, you want to be able to eat and have your space, so that has worked beautifully. The safety patrol members are on the left here, and we have pictures of them wearing their proud yellow safety belts, and that's one of the clubs in our school. But just in general, whether it's social emotional learning and bullying or teasing or just staying safe health-wise, it's a priority. We have our mandated drills that we run in our school. We do it in a safe and reassuring way, but we want to make sure that we are keeping our children safe. They know they're safe, and they can ask questions if they have any about safety, health, or anything, because we've all been through a lot together, and we're dealing with very young children. We do have a gym show coming up in May, and we're looking forward to that. We were not able to have this last year, so all of this just feels new and exciting again. So we're looking forward to that and having parents attend our events. Our specialists, of course, we have 2 full-time phys ed teachers. We have an art teacher, our innovation lab teacher, our music teacher, and we do have our band teacher, Mrs. Bennett, who actually also goes to the middle school to teach. Our continued goals, visions, and clubs continue to be a priority so that our world is rich in the elementary school. We held our kinder camp. We hope to have another kinder camp in August of 2022, and we thank the district for supporting that few days where we bring in some of our incoming kindergartners just to expose them to school life before the school year begins. We had, for the first time, our summer boost academies due to the pandemic, and these were federally funded. We'd love to be able to do that again. We continue to fill in any academic gaps, any social emotional building we can do. We had several weeks of this summer boost academy last year. The teachers did an amazing job, and these were wonderful programs for the children as they came back into the classroom. Some of them had been remote for most of the year. We have our upcoming Science Maker Fair, which already the 4th graders are working very hard, even after school, with Mrs. Bruno and Mrs. Bross to prepare their experiments and projects. Some of them will be going to the Tri-County Science Fair, which is normally held down in Lower Westchester. I do believe this year it's virtual, but they'll get back to being in person probably by next year. We have our Maker Club, our Safety Patrol, our Kids of Character Club, the gym show's coming. We have the PVES PTA musical coming up in March in just a few weeks. We always have our community read in May, where we have our community members come in and read to our classes. The writing and poetry celebrations with parents invited are coming back to life again, and that's wonderful. And of course, we'll build up to our huge Spirit Week in June, where every day is a theme day, ending with a field day. So Mrs. Pico hasn't been here for that yet, but it's coming. Okay. And just ideas that, it's been a while, and we know that if you have 1st and 2nd grade students whose parents have really hardly been in the building up until now, that's difficult because these are really young children, and we work closely with the parents, and we want parents to be part of it. So I will share, we did have in-person parent conferences in the fall. If parents felt they wanted to come in and meet with the teacher in person, that was an option. We're starting our concerts. We had a first responder story share this year, which was wonderful, where first responders came and talked to different classes and read stories. We have poetry sharing coming, special craft days and classes have taken place, writing celebrations. Fourth grade will have their Colonial Day, where the children dress up and share their research with their parents, holiday activities. Of course, the kindergarten orientation and bus run this year, the parents were here. They were with us, so that was wonderful. Back to school nights, we had parents in person, and many schools around us did not. They had virtual, but we really felt it was safe, and we handled it so that parents could be comfortable coming in. Our Science Maker Fair will be in person, and of course, the gym show. Our musical's coming up, and here's Mrs. Calhoun and Mrs. Phillips. They're working very hard here. It happens to be Valentine's Day that day, but they are getting ready for the show with so many cast members. We were after school for the Reading Academy today, and first the musical kids went by, then the science kids went by, then the Reading Academy. I said to them, does anybody go home anymore? So we have lots of clubs and lots of opportunities for them. And we are happy to say that we're looking forward to upcoming April parent workshops that we are planning now. You'll hear that there will be an ENL Academy coming for parents and students, supported by federal funds, and we truly appreciate the ability to do this, along with a workshop supporting young readers at home to help parents do that, and inviting the students in possibly for that evening as well, which would be wonderful. And of course, in May, we always hold our community read. That's a tradition. If you get your invite, you're going to get another one, and we can't wait to have you come read to our students.
So this is the first I'm hearing about a Spirit Week in June, because I said earlier to Dr. Podesta, in the 20 years that I've been in an elementary school prior to this, I don't think that I have had as much spirit or theme that I have in the 4 months since I've been here. Since I've been here, I've worn my favorite jersey, my favorite sports team, my new Putnam Valley sweatshirt, even got to wear tie-dye, tutu, and top hat all on the same day. So the spirit is all around at Putnam Valley Elementary, and these days, if you have the opportunity to walk in and out of classrooms like I do, you just see the smiles on the faces of the kids, the excitement in their voices. Mrs. Pico, this is the best day. Mrs. Pico, I have to show you this. They're practically skipping in the hallways. I have to tell them to slow down, but that's okay. The culture of Putnam Valley Elementary School is one of happy children, happy teachers, dedicated teachers, and it is just a magical place to be. So far, like I said, we've had Sports Jersey Day, we celebrated the 100th day of school, Valentine's Day, tutu, top hat, tiara, and tie-dye. I can't even imagine what we're going to do for Spirit Week, but it's all good. It's all great.
You might as well have some fun, right? And so with all of that and our successes and the support that we've been given by the community, our Board of Education, our administration, and of course the amazing staff at Putnam Valley, we're just looking forward to continued success for every student every day. So thank you very much.
So I do have a question.
Okay.
I knew you were about to say any questions.
Any questions?
One clarification. You mentioned that there were 3 additional teachers, 2 covered by federal funds, but I counted only 2 because 4th grade will have 4 sections. This year it had 5.
It didn't, though. That was my error. 4th grade has 4 sections this year.
Now.
Right now.
Okay.
We know we need another teacher because we currently have 5 sections of 2nd grade, and we only have 4 sections of 3rd grade currently. So we know we need that section.
Right.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's actually 2 additions to 3rd grade, 1 addition to 2nd grade, or the 3
Okay.
new positions. 4th grade is 4 this year, will be 4 again next year. 3rd grade's going from 4 to 6, 2nd grade's going from 5 to 6.
Is there any consideration for or of looping with the younger grades as far as since some of them had abbreviated calendars because they were remote, is there any thought to either kindergarten or first grade, when they move up, that one grade that the teachers move with them, or is that something that is under consideration? Especially if we're, bringing in new teachers to take on new loads. I wonder if it makes sense to fill backwards, not to use it negatively, but to fill backwards with the newest teachers and then keep those connections with those teachers. Because I know at sometime in the last decade, we've done that on third and fourth grades and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we haven't talked about that in recent days, but I know one of my own children looped one year, and when I found out that was happening, I was pretty excited. So, it was a great teacher and a great class. There are always considerations when you ask about that, because sometimes it might work for 80% of the class, but it doesn't work for the other 20. And the other consideration I have as a principal is the strong dynamic that teachers have on a team, and that's I said with my dissertation, that was one thing that I learned, that how does a teacher grow best? And one of the key factors is how you're working as a team with your closest colleagues and what you're learning from each other and how you're collaborating. That doesn't mean that teachers don't move and, become
Right.
very successful. So I wouldn't say that's off the table, but we haven't talked about it. Yeah. But I hear what you're saying because of the gaps and the, missing some school last year. Yeah.
So I'm sorry I jumped right into a question. I just want to first, I smile every time I look at a picture of the elementary school students. And working in a middle school, that's a pleasure to see all of that young excitement.
They are very cute.
My question is actually more for Dr. Luft. Can we jump ahead just in terms of, can we have an upcoming presentation for the board for our ENL program? I know since I've been on the board, it's almost tripled. In terms of numbers, and I'd love a little more details on how many of those students are emerging, how many are commanding, which are some of the categories, how many hours our students are getting, are they push in, push out? I'm not going to throw all that at you because that wasn't what you came here to present, but can we have that happen in the future?
The answer today will be a different answer tomorrow to all those questions because it changes that quickly. Yeah, definitely.
Just an overall presentation.
An E&L presentation, we can definitely put something together.
And there's something happening with the parents in April, so that could almost be a good time frame.
Correct. Well, we'll get that on the calendar.
I know that's an end of the meeting. Sorry, Barbara, that's an end of the meeting conversation, but I jumped ahead. And
That's right, -1.
and my last question is, how is our Mandarin program, is the whole grade, all K, all 1, all 2 at this point?
Every class section gets 30 minutes a week.
Okay. And when we talk budget, this is more, again, a Jeremy question, how are we supporting it? I know we did with the grant with BOCES, we did with the Education Foundation. I'd like to know the costs in our budget with that.
Sure. So it's, I don't know the dollar amount, but it's in partnership with BOCES. So BOCES provides, it's a teaching assistant, so it's not a teacher salary, it's a teaching assistant salary, and we get aid back on it. And they're now in part of the day to cover this, part of the day to cover the remote Mandarin classes at the middle school and the high school. Well, the middle school, they support those classes. So it's really one teaching assistant position that we budget through BOCES. And in the past, the Education Foundation has helped us. The first year was a pilot, and BOCES covered the cost. So for now, it's that expenditure of the TA is within our BOCES budget.
That's all my questions. And except that I put the May 16th on my calendar because I missed it last year.
I wrote that down too. So, one of my favorite days. First, thank you. This was, again, always fun seeing those faces, and thank you for your presentation. Question regarding the parent workshops. At a previous board meeting, there was discussion regarding, or a comment regarding the math in the elementary school. And I know when my kids were going through in math, I had to do it one way, they did it another way to see if we got to the same answer. Any opportunity for a parent workshop for math?
Absolutely. We've offered many parent workshops for math homework prior to COVID. Unfortunately, they weren't that well attended, so we're always trying to brainstorm ideas. How can we get the parents in? And maybe the answer is they can bring their child, because we were trying to help parents understand the curriculum. Now, the students get very good at starting to explain, but sometimes it's a challenge. I mean, it can be challenging. So we are starting to talk about parent workshops, and math would be right in there, especially if we had the interest. If we had something that it was easier to do during the day, we could make that work too. So we've done a lot of that in the past. Not huge numbers, but we could try it again for sure. And it might be the right time. People might be ready, you know?
Right.
Well, and could we do it maybe through Zoom or something else so that parents who couldn't come in, you know, could be home and could do it from there? Maybe it would be a good chance to tie in the technology piece. And
That
get
might
more
work.
people.
Yeah, because that might just be easier. Yeah.
Might even work with homework night, you know, like on
Yeah.
a third grade math night,
Yeah.
doing with your third grader, doing your homework with them.
Right.
Give them the really hard problems that night, so where they're really going to need a lot of help.
And obviously, we had a lot of challenges this year, so I would assume that would be even started earlier in the year, not May when school's ending for next year.
Right.
Something like that.
Early in the year, yeah. Yes, and I'd love that interest, and we had many teachers willing to present, so we could definitely do that.
Thank you.
Helen, did you have any?
No.
So, well, when the high school presented, and they were talking about the writing revolution, I asked, and Jackie agreed to help me. I want to see student work. I want to see how that grows. I want to see what first grade writing, second grade writing, that progression, and be able to celebrate that growth. So I'm just telling you that I already asked Jackie, so she may be coming to you and saying, Barbara's asking. The social emotional piece, are we still doing Yale Ruler? Are we still using those terms?
Teachers are using the mood meter as reference points, and it helps children label their emotions. And we found we wanted to even go farther than that. You know, Ruler does offer strategies and, you know, taking a moment for yourself and finding your best self. But we haven't completely incorporated that as a program this year. It's still there. It's in many classrooms, and people label their emotions. This is where I am. I'm in the red today. But the work that our Character Ed Committee does and Laura Kilduff does, we're trying to build an even more common language through our second step teaching.
Okay, then I'd like a little more information about that.
I'll ask her to present.
Okay. Tag, you're it. Okay, thank you. And welcome, Jen.
So I just want to take the opportunity to thank you both. You did a fantastic job, as well as the many teachers, support staff, and everyone else that makes all of the things we heard here this evening possible. As you're aware, my favorite place to try to hide is the elementary school, so teachers will look up and just see me sitting in the back of the classroom helping a kid with homework or math work. I try to avoid the ELA stuff. But it's a fantastic place. I love going there, full of happy, smiling faces. You definitely have the cutest kids in the district. No offense to middle school and high school parents. But I just want to take the opportunity to thank you both. Nice job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jeremy and sorry.